Beautiful. Okay. I mean, it'll be delayed, but. Oh, just go back. I know I have Revolution eSports saved to my favorites on my Twitch. Gotta find it.
Ready for battle.
The stream is live, correct, Shape? My name. I have to search for it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1.
All right,
Capture
gamers, welcome
the
to our
objective.
first game of the GM division. We have Team Hydra going up against Phobos.
The power of destruction.
Both teams currently running meta. We have both teams running and the Reaper. Looks like Team Phobos. Hold on just a second, guys. Let me get my bearings here. Shape, can you help me out here? Which team is which?
The
Blue is
objective is now
Phobos,
active.
and red is...
Get into position.
Alright, I have my bearings. Now that we've got that taken care of. Alright, main tank for Hydra goes down. But a quick turnaround for Phobos as both both tanks for Hydra are taken out. And it looks like control is going to be taken first by Hydra. I really wish I could have half the screen playing Overwatch. I could have half the screen showing the roster right now, but we're going to go ahead and work with it. For some reason, my in-game over. Next fight coming through. Doofus goes down on the side of Hydra. Nice pick up by more correct. Coalescence is used by Arts.
This will restore you.
Taking down the main tank on the side of Hydra. Both tanks going down, and it does look like Team Phobos is going to be able to put this point right around 43%. Coming into the next fight, it does look as if Hydra's going to have a tiny ult advantage here, not by a whole heck of a lot. I'm really looking to see Team Phobos building up this flux. But it's going to be canceled out by the flux on the other side. But unfortunately, Mori already goes down, which is going to give an opening here for Team Phobos. Sigma goes down as well. Both tanks are currently down for Phobos, and this is looking like a pretty quick retake for Hydra. Really liking the aggression out of here from Hydra. From a tank player myself, I can respect the tempo of play that Hydra is currently using. Alright, coming through is Phobos. Davidic Flux used by Hydra. Nice feat by Pfizer. Can't figure out how to handle that in one way or the other. Oh, Electric coming through from Arcs again. Got that. Oh, Electric. Lots of kills going back and forth here, but unfortunately it looks... I guess that's not really back and forth at all. That's actually a relatively clean take by Hydra, or excuse me, by Phobos. Luckily able to turn it around at 92%, already built for Team Hydra. So unfortunately they used pretty much all of their ults in that last fight. So, but still looking at the ult economy here, they look to be on even ground. The only difference really being that Hydra's coming into this fight with a coalescence, and Phobos is not. Mori's getting solo, finally able to get top back up, but IDK and Swayze both go down. Looks like a fairly strong hold for Phobos, and looks like they'll be able to retain possession for at least a little bit longer. Unfortunately, a couple more staggers coming in here on the side of Hydra. Sigma going down relatively quick, or excuse me, relatively
This
late
will
there.
restore you.
This is going to push it back to the point where I think that Team Hydra is only really going to have one more opportunity to retake here. Doomfist gets a huge pick on the visor to open it up for Team Hydra. Coalescence is being used aggressively here to make it to the point. Coalescence finally dies down. Mori's taken down. Teams are currently even up, and Cybertech is going to be on his way back. Both main tanks go down for Hydra, however. Oh my gosh, this is such a close fight. Verse goes down, taken out by IDK. Swayze taken down by Visor. Holy smokes! The supercharger really looks like it's going to be able to turn the tide for Phobos. I'm not sure if Team Hydra is going to be able to hang on for much longer. The Hammond comes in on the side of Team Hydra for a stall, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And Team Phobos looks as if they're going to be able to take the first round here on Ilios. Very close match. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we are in for a treat. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that was a hotly contested first map, and I know that controls can usually be fairly hectic, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from both of these teams. Forgive me for the relatively slow pace of the cast on the first point, but as I said before, I'm still getting my feet under me as far as getting acclimated to both of the rosters, being able to identify both of these teams accurately and consistently.
5, 4,
So thank you for your patience
3,
with that.
2,
But we
1.
are on our way.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
On the second point of Ilios, we're currently playing on Well. Both teams going to have Orisa Sigma to work with. But we do have a little bit of a switch going on for Phobos running the Pharah as opposed to the Reaper on the side of Hydra. But Verse gets taken down relatively early, and barring... but Arts gets taken out by Swayze. Huge turnaround here.
The objective is now active.
Yeah, I'm not sure Phobos is really going to be able to do much more regarding this first fight, and Team Hydra takes a relatively clean first take. Luckily on the side of Phobos, no staggers, so they should be able to recontest fairly quickly.
The power of destruction.
Team Phobos coming through main. They're getting a lot of poke damage in. Fortunately, that rock misses on the Pharah, but I'm not sure any Sigma's really going to be able to hit that consistently. Oh no! Reaper gets taken off the map, goes down the well, and Phobos has a great opportunity here to take their first control of this point, but first get taken out by IDK. It seems that the Doomfist battle is being won on the side of IDK when it comes to Verse. Coalescence being used on both sides, relatively even. Cybertex gets taken down. Phobos still has an opportunity here. Omega goes down, but Arcs gets taken down. Oh my gosh. Huge boot by Mori, and that is why Pharah is getting consistent value played on the well map. I'm seeing it more and more, not only in the Diamond Masters level, but apparently GM level play as well. Huge proponent of the Pharah play here. Let's see if Hydra chooses to swap off. They do swap off the Reaper to a McCree to counter the Pharah. Rock coming in on the side of Hydra. Doesn't find its mark. We have a little bit of a stalemate here. Everybody just poking from one corner to the other. A little bit of a rotation coming in on the side of Hydra. But it doesn't really look like they're going to be able to get much footing on the point itself. They really don't have much to take care of this Pharah. It doesn't look like the McCree's really able to get a good angle with the nerf that Pharah has. But Verse is taken down by IDK again. This Doomfist battle is severely one-sided in favor of IDK. But a res comes through on the side of Phobos, and both the Orisa and the McCree are taken down on the side of Hydra, and it looks like Phobos is going to be able to retain possession of the point relatively easily. A little bit of staggering here on the side of Hydra, and a full reset currently coming through. Hopefully this Sigma, let's see if the Sigma can get out without getting taken out. Okay, it looks like he's able to make it back to his team.
touch from
This
afar.
Pharaoh poke is ridiculous. Oh, finally Swayze is able to get that headshot on Mori. And this is their opportunity to take the point. Nez goes down as well from Swayze. Swayze is popping off. Verse goes down, taken out by the Lucio. And it looks like at the 11th hour, Phobos is going to be able to come through and swap this out. 51, or excuse me, at 99% already take, or excuse me, Team Hydra able to take control of the point from Team Phobos at the 99% mark. Ult economy is looking fairly even. We've got a barrage and a meteor strike on the side of Phobos with a supercharger and a flux. Oof. I take that back. It does look like Hydra's going to be able to have the is definitely going to have the ult advantage, but they're but Phobos gets staggered on their approach. They're going to have to wait for the Doomfist to rejoin them. This isn't really looking very good at all for Phobos. Team Hydra definitely has the ult advantage here. Bomb goes used. Swayze's taken down though. Verse taken down. Oh my gosh, these kills going back and forth. Cybertech taken down by Arc. I don't know, it's looking pretty good for Phobos here. IDK taken out by Nez. Coalescence used on the side of Phobos. This looks to clean up the rest of the remaining forces for Hydra, and I do believe that Phobos is going to take our first map here on Ilius to go up 1-0. All right.
Victory.
So definitely one of the closer 2-0s. Score of that map not necessarily reflective of how close that match actually was. Lots and lots of back and forth. I'm interested to see what the map pick is here for Hydra. I believe our map pool is, let me bring up map pool real quick. All right, so we're looking at Junkertown, Havana, or Gibraltar. As far as the current meta, if both teams are going to be running similar compositions, I would assume that Hydra would rather play Havana, but to be completely honest with you, I mean, all three of these maps lend themselves to fair play. So I'm not sure if Team Hydra has anything up their sleeves regarding altering their composition at all, or if they're relatively hard stuck on the Reaper Doomfist. I'd really like to see a little bit more flexibility out of their DPS. Their McCree was able to get some value, but unfortunately, I think the Doomfist battle was just being too heavily won out on the side of Team Phobos, and the McCree on the side of Hydra just wasn't able to counteract that. So very interested to see on what compositions we're gonna get for Escort here. Do we have a map pick as of yet? Havana. All right. Be interested to see if we have either team break out any Bastion strats here. For some reason, I'm showing. Okay, good. I didn't see nothing. There we go.
Traveling to Havana. Initiating.
Yep, I know that there are plenty of teams out there that love to run Bastion on this map. I wouldn't be totally surprised if we saw it, but again, I don't really know a whole lot about these two teams, so we're just gonna take what they give us here, and we're gonna roll with it. Exactly. See if I can peek in the windows here. See what they got. Now Havana, I know a lot of people talk poorly about this map. I'm not necessarily sure why. I think it's potentially due to the amount of Bastion that you see on the map, but I played against so much Bastion at this point, I don't really even think about it anymore. And I think with the addition of
Attackers
Sigma into the
incoming
game,
in
the
30
ability to
seconds.
counter a Bastion it makes it a lot easier. Not necessarily with the Sigma itself, but Sigma being able to combo with a Diva or a Hammond or anything along those lines. It makes um, the variations to combat a Bastion composition a little bit more
5,
diverse,
4,
and not
3,
having to
2,
necessarily run a Diva all the
1.
time, especially with Diva
Attackers
being nerfed into the
incoming.
ground. But it looks like we're going to have
Stop the
Bastion on
payload.
both attack and defense here on the side of Phobos and Hydra. A little bit of stalemate going on here on spawn. Aggressive positioning here by Phobos. A little bit of poke damage, but we have Pharos on both sides. We do have Pharos on both sides, so identical compositions here. Mortality field used on the side of Hydra. Cybertex is taken down for the first pick off Phobos, but Visor gets taken down, and I do believe that's going to be that's going to be the higher quality pick on the side of Team Hydra here, and with their spawn advantage, I think they should be able to get this, as long as they're able to regroup here fairly quickly. They're going to have a 6-on-5 here for a relatively long period of time, because I don't see anybody going back to ferry the Mercy on the side of Phobos, but the Mercy's fairly close. Okay, Orisa's finally taken down on the side of Hydra. Even with Mercy coming back, they're still able to take this fight 65. And it looks like Hydra's finally going to be able to get the payload moving. Phobos backs up. But I do agree with I do like the aggressive position in there on the side of Phobos. That is my personal,
My ultimate is charging.
that's my personal strat that I like to use on Havana as far as aggressive positioning on the defense. For obvious reasons, because you have plenty of time to recontest on first point Havana. I see a lot of teams that hold that first corner, but unfortunately, especially with Bastion traps, don't really necessarily have the mobility to come back and do that. However, we do have Phobos coming back in here to recontest on first point. Mori's taken down early, but quick takeouts by Verse on both the Pharah and the Bastion on the side of Phobos, and it looks like Team Hydra is going to be able to push this in on point A, barring any type of miracle on the side of Phobos. Flux used on the side of Phobos to be able to take out both the Sigma and the Orisa on the side of Hydra, and it looks like Phobos is going to be able to get some footing here on point A. Got about a minute and a half here left on the attack on the side of Team Hydra, and they don't really have much to use on the side of ultimates. Bastion ultimate, yes, is going to be in play here for Team Hydra, but that's not really where Bastion's going to be able to get his usefulness. With this team composition, you really want Bastion to stay in turret form for the majority of the time, but they are going to be able to have that amplification matrix set up in front of the Bastion. So let's see if they're going to be able to get any value out of setting this up. It looks like they're going to be setting it up on the high ground. Here comes the window. There we go. But both windows set up on both sides. However, the high ground advantage here proves to be a little bit too much on the side of Team Hydra, and unless this Pharah is able to literally 1v6, I think that Team Hydra is going to be able to take point A here. Yep. Team Phobos looks to be regrouping. Pharah is pushing on the offense. Moira needs to back off before she gets taken out. There we go. All right, that's officially point A for Team Hydra. See what we got here for ultimates on the side of Phobos. Phobos already contesting here relatively early. In 2.2, Flux is used by Phobos. Not really able to get any value out of the Gravitic Flux on the side of Phobos, and actually the Bastion gets taken out on the side of Phobos. So no value whatsoever on that Flux, and it's looking like Team Hydra is going to be rolling through this first portion of point B on Havana. Phobos going to have to regroup here relatively quickly if they want a clean recontest, and it looks like this Moira is going to get staggered, unfortunately. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. And now Phobos unfortunately is stuck here. They should be able to get a relatively clean recontest here on point B. Coming in with 3 ultimates. Probably going to look at damage boosting the barrage here. But amplification matrix used here relatively early on the side of Team Hydra, and Mercy gets taken out by the Pharah on the side of Team Phobos, and with 3 picks now going in favor of Team Phobos, it looks like they're going to be able to stall out point B for a little bit longer with about a minute and a half left on the offense here for Team Phobos. Team Phobos going to be coming in to the next fight with Bastion and their ultimates. No real combo potential, unfortunately, because Flux is only about halfway up for the side of Team Phobos for Nez. But depending on how quickly this team fight goes, he may be able to build that up in time to combo with one of his TPS ultimates. Bridge being taken here by Team Hydra. Early pick on the Pharah by Swayze. Team Phobos is going to have to back up here a little bit. Aggressive positioning on the high ground on the Bastion on the side of Hydra. Nice Flux coming in on the side of Hydra, but unfortunately Immortality Field is used on the side of Phobos, keeping everybody up. But the Pharah comes in and obliterates Team Phobos nearly single-handedly. A desperation coalescence coming in on the side of Team Phobos might be ill-advised, but with, with coalescence being coalescence, she should have that back relatively quickly. A valiant effort on the side of Team Phobos on the defense, but ultimately, point B is taken by Team Hydra with about a minute 40 left to take point C. The Widow is coming out on the side of Team Phobos. Very interesting. Let's see if the Widow's going to be able to get any value here against Double Shield. I'm assuming the Pharah is simply coming out to counter the Pharah, which makes a lot of sense. But we'll see if she's going to be able to win that duel with the Mercy Pocket. No real contest as of yet by Team Phobos. They're holding a very, very passive point here. And Mora gets taken out by the Bastion of all things. And Team Phobos needs to back up right now if they're looking to have any type of real contest here on the final point of Havana. We will be coming into this next fight with an Amplification Matrix and the Flux.
Amplification Matrix ready.
Flux is an amazing ult for a Widowmaker. Just ask any hit-stand player. Let's see if they're going to be able to get any value out of it. Side effect has really been on point with his Immortality Field, but Immortality Field is used strictly on the Bastion here, but the Flux isn't really able. The Flux isn't even used on the side of Phobos, unfortunately, with nearly all of Team Phobos being taken out before they even exit spawn. Nez is going to be able to. He's going to need the Flux of his lifetime here, because Cybertex is already going to have Immortality Field out by the time they exit spawn again. Immortality Field already used. Flux is used on the cart, but not able to get any value because of Orisa Shift. And ultimately, we are looking at a full take here on offense on the side of Team Hydra with time in the bank. 1.5 seconds, barely. Oh, I can't even count that high, though.
0 to 3. Switching sides.
But still, time in the bank is time in the bank. And for anybody that is unaware, well, actually, this is an escort map, so unfortunately, it doesn't really have too much value as long as all 3 points are taken by the side or by Team Phobos here. Both teams will get at least that 1 minute in their time bank on payload maps. If this were a hybrid map, it would be a little bit different, but we'll cross the bridge when we get to it. See what compositions come out for both sides. I anticipate Bastion being used on both sides still, especially with the value that Team Hydra was able to get on their offense. But that was offense, and your positioning on Bastion is going to be marginally different on defense than on offense. So we'll see. We'll see what they're able to muster on their defense and if Phobos is able to have any type of success on their offense, very similar to Team Hydra, regarding the mirror compositions that we're looking at here. Personally, want to point out here that this composition probably my least favorite to go up against, Bastion Pharah, because with the Bastion taking so much of your attention, it's really difficult to dedicate the attention necessary to the Pharah. And the Pharah ultimately ends up with free reign in the skies and is ultimately able to get endless amounts of poke damage into the enemy team. So it really comes down to whether or not the Teats and the Orisa are able to get that pick off on the Pharah, if at all, without the team making any switches. But looks like Hydra here is able to get a nice early team win against Phobos here with taking out the Bastion and the Sigma. So full regroup coming through on the side of Phobos. Let's see if they choose to take a different route here. Looks like they're going to be going left flank. But it looks like Team Hydra rotates their positioning to the left side of the initial thoroughfare. I'm not sure how much hope Team Phobos is actually going to be able to get onto this Bastion with their current positioning. This is huge strats coming through for Team Hydra, and again, the pharmacy composition or combo taken down on the side of Phobos for another full regroup. Amazing positioning here on the side of Team Hydra. Very, very impressive. We're getting down close to 2 minutes here on the side of Team Phobos for their attack on point 8 for Havana, and I'm not, other than Bastion Amplification Matrix coming through, if they can get a good setup on it, perhaps they can have some damage, but they have the same ultimate up on the side of Team Hydra. But as I say that, they are able to take out the Bastion on the side of Team Hydra, and with their Mercy's current positioning and pocketing the Pharah, I don't think she's going to be able to get the res off. Res comes through on the side of Team Phobos onto. They're able to push up to the first corner. Sigma's taken out and the Pharah's taken out on the side of Team Hydra. And finally, it looks as if Phobos is going to be able to get some traction here on point A. Mercy's going to get staggered. All right. However, with that initial aggressive positioning by Team Hydra, they should be able to get a clean recontest here. Looks like they're going to be recontesting from their left flank. Or... oh, no, they're going to be contesting from high ground. Perfect positioning here for the Bastion of the Amplification Matrix. And a huge pick off onto the Bastion on the side of Team Phobos. And, oh my god. Orisa taken down. The T's taken down. Sigma taken down. Mori pops off, but unfortunately I think it's a little bit too late for them to salvage this fight. And Team Phobos is going to have to regroup here quickly if they're looking to have any real chance at taking point A here. A very real shot here at
30 seconds. Cease resistance.
oh, wait. Bongo used preemptively on the side of Team Hydra. Huge pick onto the T from Team Phobos. But a counter pick on the Orisa by Swayze. Oh my gosh, this fight is so close. But ultimately, it looks like Team Hydra is going to be able to pull it out. And I don't think that Phobos is going to be able to recontest. And it looks like Team Hydra is going to be able to even series out at one apiece.
Victory.
Very nicely done. Huge positioning strats on the side of Team Hydra. And that just, in my opinion, that just goes to show that Team Hydra's really, really put some time and effort into these Bastion strats. Playing around that Bastion requires so much positional awareness and communication. And it's so map dependent. I really have a lot of respect for these teams that are able to run these Bastion strats, specifically on defense. Because on offense, it's relatively simple. You see a lot of teams just pop the Bastion on the payload and run your typical pirate ship composition. Uh, but on defense, you really have to be a little bit more innovative in your positioning. Um, and Team Hydra there was just really able to keep Team Phobos on their toes with their Bastion positioning. They weren't really able to set up any consistent plays on offense, and it really that positioning and strategy really showed on Havana on the side of Hydra. So next map, looking at going into Assault, and oh my gosh, these are everybody's favorite Assault maps. Paris and Horizon in this season's pool. But only Paris. I would say Paris and Volskaya first point are lead themselves open to some Pharah play here. Um, so interesting to see what Phobos is going to pick, given the fact that they've already run Pharah on the first two maps. I would anticipate them probably. If I had to take a guess here, I would think that they're going to run Paris, but I have been proven wrong before. So, but I'm sure that Shape will duly inform me of whatever map is picked. I'll keep my fingers crossed. On my part, I certainly need some more of this pre-workout to keep my brain cells from getting any lower than they currently are. And I don't even do any. And I don't even smoke. I don't do any drugs. I have no excuses on my brain cell count other than the fact that I do nothing but stare at a computer screen all day. So I'm going blind sooner than I'd like. But other than that, I have everything going for me. I want to thank all of our viewers out there for dealing with a solo cast tonight. Again, I want everybody to be aware that it's only my second cast ever, and this is my first solo cast, so I'm doing the absolute best that I can. If y'all want to show a little bit of love in the chat, it would be most appreciated. Just to be able to know that you guys aren't talking ridiculous amounts of crap about me behind my back, which is probably well, somebody had to do it, right? And I am very impressed with the community in the short period of time I've been a part of it. So much so to the point where I felt it necessary to enter two teams into the league this season as opposed to only one. Two is always better than one. So that and nice, interesting. No. That's fine. So very interesting pick here. Doesn't really lend itself to a ton of fair play because in general, for those of you who might not know, fair players like to have open map environments, so that way they're not limited to ceilings. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't play corners on a map like Horizon. But on this map, I would probably anticipate more so a Doomfist strat on offense, and probably a Bastion May or potentially a Bastion Pharah on the side of the defense. Who do we have going on defense here first? Hydra. So is defense always the right side of my screen, or does it swap? It depends on how you're setting up the game, so that's why I'm asking you.
Ready for battle.
Okay, perfect. All right, so it looks like we have Phobos on defense, Hydra coming in on offense,
Attackers incoming in
with a
30
potential
seconds.
Sombra pick here on offense. Very interesting on the side of Hydra. I'm looking to see how much value they're going to be able to get out of the Sombra, obviously anticipating the Bastion strategy here on the side of Phobos, and they are correct. And it looks like my prediction on the defense was correct as well in the Bastion May composition. This is my personal pick for defense on this map. But If I had to
Attackers
pick a
incoming.
side that has a
Defend objective
compositional
A.
advantage here, I would probably have to go with Team Phobos here, just with the amount of sustain that they have, and this Sombra is going to have to get some money hacks off if Team Hydra is looking to crack this nut that currently is the Team Phobos defense. Alright, Team Hydra coming low ground right side on their defense. I'm anticipating... Nope, they swapped to the Symmetra after the Sombra was able to scout, and a direct TP to point. Setting up is Team Hydra on point A. Team Phobos taking high ground, spamming all sorts of crazy amounts of damage onto the point, and that's going to look like a first point hold for Team Phobos, at least for the first team fight. A valiant effort on the side of Team Hydra. This is the strat that everybody is currently aware of. In ranked games, you use the Symmetra on point A and both shields to protect the teleporter to teleport onto point. But unfortunately, with the Bastion being run on the side of Team Phobos and their current positioning, raining down that Bastion DPS from the high ground is going to lend itself to a defensive advantage on the side of Team Phobos. So we'll see if Team Hydra is able to get a hard point take here on... They have to be able to force Team Phobos to come down to the point. Unfortunately, IDK... Well, they do get a pick off onto IDK. IDK a little bit overextended. Omega taken down as well, and it looks promising here for Team Hydra being able to take point A here. Bastion finally taken down, Batiste taken down, and that is point A for Team Hydra. Relatively clean. Very impressive on the side of Team Hydra. Alright, Team Hydra going through the main scope here on point B. High ground already taken by Team Phobos, but Orisa already drops down to contest point. They have to. Coalescence used on the side of Team Hydra. Only the Immortality taken down on the side of Team Phobos, but I take that back. May and Orisa taken out by Team Hydra, and this is looking very, very good for the offense for Phobos here. Huge plays on the side of Verse, and... if people didn't like Symmetra before watching this game, they're not going to change their opinions at all after watching this first point take by Hydra. Huge value on the side of the Symmetra pick, swapping off of the Sombra on offense. Definitely turning out to be the right decision. Ultimately looking as if that Sombra pick on the side of Team Hydra was strictly to scout the defensive composition of Team Phobos. And even though I had Team Phobos pegged for the compositional advantage initially, executionally, Team Hydra was flawless on their attack. With 4.5 minutes in the bank, that is nothing to scoff.
Ready for
Let's
battle.
see what Phobos looks to run on attack here. Potentially a attack Bastion here on the side of Team Phobos. No, swapping to a Reaper. I suppose I should wait until we're a little bit closer to spawn time to start mapping out these team compositions, because there's been a lot of movement in the spawn room here on both sides. Bastion Reaper coming in on the side of the defense for Team Hydra. Very similar attributes here for the defensive composition, running the Bastion Reaper as opposed to the Bastion Mei. Bastion Mei, obviously the more defensive pick, but Reaper able to get a little bit more flank value on the defense here for Hydra. So let's see what Phobos looks to run here on the side of the offense. The Sombra coming out here for the scout, I'm assuming. Correct. Sombra going back to spawn to swap to... Drum roll, please. May on offense. Very interesting. Okay, so obviously probably looking to wall off the LOS of the Bastion here on high ground, and going to be rotating either left or right to point. Let's see what Phobos decides to do here on their attack and how they choose to set it up. Doesn't really look like they know what they want to do here, because Sigma looks to be out of position. Ends up having to cross the initial choke by himself. Nice pull on the side of Korean Snack. Sorry, I know Korean Snack hasn't really made, but he wants to be known by Oh, got it. First pick taken out on the side of Phobos onto the Bastion of Hydra. And that's going to open it up here on the attack for Phobos. As long as they actually press W here. Okay. They're taking left flank here, set up on the Bastion, but this is going to leave them open to a flank from the spawn on the side of Team Hydra. So unless they get value here on the side of Team Phobos here relatively quickly, and CyberX is taken down, so I'm not sure... I'm not sure if Team Phobos is going to be able to find any more value on this attack. Wooly does go down though, but ultimately Swayze and Stevek are taken down on the side of Phobos, and right now they're just cleaning up spawns here on the side of Team Hydra. Phobos needs to regroup ASAP. Not agreeing with that positioning on the side of Team Phobos on that point A attack. You get the pick, you get the early pick off. I would have rotated right side, so that way you could have at least have taken high ground, and you didn't have your back to the spawn of Team Hydra. And unfortunately, with the positioning that they had on that initial attack, they weren't able to find the fix quickly enough. But let's see what they're able to do here on their second attack. Taking right side flank, they're able to find some footing on the high ground with the amplification matrix used in front of the Bastion, but a quick regroup onto point by Team Hydra. Very nice execution on the side of Team Hydra. Very good communication coordination. Bastion taken down on the side of Team Phobos, and it's looking like another regroup here on the side of Phobos. But Orisa taken down. It looks they're just dying quick. And a full reset on the side of Team Phobos. CyberX is going to get staggered here. Unfortunately, Sigma probably going to get staggered as well. Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. Do they know that the Sigma is outside though? Is he going to fall off the map, or is he just going to sit there? It looks like Sigma's just gonna sit there. Nobody knows.
60 seconds remaining.
Nobody. Alright, while Sigma waits for the rest of the team to regroup on him, this is obviously going to telegraph where Team Phobos is going to attack from. It looks like they're going to rotate right side again. But Sigma somehow, by some miracle, is able to make it back to his team. Alright, an initial Bastion set up here on the low ground by Team Phobos. I'm not sure about this. I'm really starting to question the Bastion pick here on offense on the side of Team Phobos. It doesn't really look like they're able to get any type of positional advantage. They are able to take the high ground, which is conceded relatively early by Team Hydra. Interesting to see them give that up so freely, but Gravitic Flux, huge Gravitic Flux coming in on the side of Team Hydra. But unfortunately, the picks are coming through on the side of Phobos, and finally, with the use of Bongo and Nano onto their Bastion, I think that Phobos is finally going to be able to take point A here. In overtime.
Objective lost. New defense point. Objective.
Now, obviously, Phobos has already given about 2 minutes up in the time bank to Team Hydra, but maybe, unfortunately, the only ult they have coming into this fight is Bastion ult, and that's not really what they're looking for when it comes to a point B take on Horizon Lunar Colony. But let's see if they're able to get an early pick here with this high ground setup. Both teams are currently set up high ground. Looks like Team Phobos is looking to take. May ult is used, unfortunately, but May is picked off. Not able to find any value out of that May ult. Very, very questionable ult usage on the side of IDK. Excuse me, 1DK. My fault. And unfortunately, it's looking like a completely wasted ultimate on the side of the Phobos. That is certainly an ultimate that they wish they had back. They still have, they're going to have Bastion ult and Amplification Matrix for this fight. Going into only the Death Blossoms of the side of Team Hydra. So potentially Phobos might be able to find some footing with this ult advantage that they have. Maywall coming in on the side of Team Phobos, but that cuts off the line of sight of the Bastion. So that's when the May and the Bastion composition can really cut its nose off despite its own face. And it looks like Team Hydra on the back of a excuse me, I'm losing track of my ultimates here. But Team Hydra, oh my gosh, this ult economy is looking completely one-sided in favor of Team Hydra. They're coming on to 5 ults this fight, with only 3 coming in on the side of Team Phobos, and not necessarily the ones that you're looking to win a team fight with, but they are going to be able to combo all 3 of these they're going to be able to combo the Nano onto the Bastion with the Amplification Matrix, as long as they get good positioning here on the point.
This will heal you.
Cease your resistance.
A left side rotation from the side of Team Phobos, a very far side left side rotation on the side of Team Phobos, looking to take that high ground.
My will made real.
After very long rotation, Team Phobos is finally able to make it to the left side high ground. Amplification Matrix is used, and Nano onto the Bastion. Huge plays by Swayze. Rabbinic Flux comes in late on the side of Team Hydra, but unfortunately it's too little, too late, and barring some sort of crazy shenanigans on the side of Team Hydra, I do believe that Team Phobos is going to be able to take this in overtime. Dagger picks coming through on the side of Team Hydra. They do get a pick onto Swayze and Sutures, though. Oh my gosh, huge plays coming in from Burst and Visor. Korean Stack is taken out, though, but Omega taken down as well. With Freeze is used on the side of Phobos, being able to take out both Burst and Visor. Back and forth fight here. But with the spawn advantage being in favor of Team Hydra, I'm not sure if Phobos is going to be able to have the same power to be able to take this. Nez is taken out of back by Stevic. A Diva coming in on the side of Team Phobos. Nez and Verse both taken down on the side of Team Hydra. Korean Snack taken down as well by Swayze. Swayze popping off. Oh my gosh, Swayze takes out 3. Or excuse me, Swayze took out 2, but Mori comes back with a pulse bomb on the Moira of Phobos, which is Sutures. Kills going back and forth here. This last fight is absolutely ridiculous. I can't even keep track of the kill feed right now. Visor comes through on a pickoff on Cybertex and Phobos. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to have enough saving power to take this. Swayze taken down. Omega taken down. Phobos is on their last leg here. 1DK taken down, and it's not looking promising. I do think that ultimately Hydra is going to be able to take Horizon Lunar Colony to go up 2-1 in maps. Oh, excuse me. I had... Did I have... Hold on, wait a minute. Did I have the teams wrong there? Somebody correct me. Did I have the teams wrong, or were they labeled incorrectly in the lobby? This is a huge forehead moment right now. I'm so confused. All right, so what we have now is correct. Space? Oh, excuse me. Shape is what we have in the lobby right now, the correct team affiliation? All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so it looks as if I may have had the teams reversed in-game. I'm not 100% certain. Let's see. So our map score is currently 2-1. Is it 2-1 Hydra or 2-1 Phobo right now? Okay, so I was correct. 2-1 Hydra. Okay, I'm losing my mind here. I apologize. So 2-1 in favor of Hydra, due to, in my opinion, a stark compositional advantage. Phobos not really able to find that value on the attack bastion on point A, and ultimately just led to a huge time back disparity on point B, and an ult economy that just unfortunately was never really able to be taken advantage of. And huge stall play coming through on the side of Hydra as well. Very, very impressive stuff. Let's see what maps we have coming through. Oh no. Okay, map pool, there it is. All right, hybrid coming through. So our choices are Numbani, Hollywood, and Eichenwald. And I believe that Team Phobos requested Eichenwald. Is that correct, Shape? They did. See, I can read words. Ugh, words are so hard. English language is actually ridiculously hard, if you didn't already know that. But unfortunately, we kind of expect everybody else to know English, which is probably the most hypocritical thing on the planet. But I digress. Now, Eichenwald map pick obviously lends itself to some fair play, and I'm assuming to see that from the side of Team Phobos with the amount of success they were able to find on their only map win running the Pharah. And you can run the Pharah on both offense or defense, get similar value out of it. So I am assuming that played into the Eichenwald map pick. But again, even though they might have that comfort pick on the Pharah on the side of Phobos, I 100% anticipate a Bastion defensive strat here on the side of Team Hydra. Let's see if they prove me right. Unfortunately, we have to wait 33 seconds to find out. This is the worst part right here. It's the longest 18 seconds of my life. But Eichenwald, one of the OG maps in Overwatch, one of my personal favorites. And if I were Phobos right now, or excuse me, if I were Hydra right now, I would probably run Bastion Pharah on defense. But it looks like Phobos
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
It looks like Phobos. Hold on just a second. Let me check the team roster here for just a second.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep, it looks as if we're going to have that Bastion strategy on the side of Phobos on defense. And the Pharah. The Doomfist McCree coming through on the offense for Hydra. Very interesting composition here. They do have a Lucio though, so they're going to have the opportunity to get into a position here. As long as their rotations are tight enough, they will be able to get into position to flank the Bastion here on the high ground. But as I say that, Team Phobos already drops from the high ground and repositions themselves on the point. Very nice rotation on the side of Phobos on their defense here. But unfortunately, because of that, they sacrificed the high ground to Hydra. But with the composition being what it currently is, and in my opinion, favors Team Phobos, they're able to get the early pick onto the McCree, the Doomfist, and both tanks follow. And this is looking like a full reset on the side of Team Hydra. And with the amount of time that it took on that initial rotation for Team Hydra, they're not going to be able to recontest this until having 2.5 minutes left in the clock. So that's the problem with facing the Bastion on point A here on Eichenwald, is the amount of sheer time it takes to pull off this rotation. You're only really looking at 3 solid attack pushes on the side of the offense. It takes so much time off the clock. You really need to be able to execute on the few opportunities that you have on the side of the offense. Immortality field here used here relatively early on the side of Team Hydra, which forces them to back out. Fair here getting a ton of poke damage on the side of Phobos. Really going uncontested, which is why the Pharah pick is so prevalent here on Ike first point. Again, like I said, this rotation, this attack rotation on the side of Hydra is taking literal in-game time forever, and even with that, Swayze taking down relatively early in the fight, but the res comes through on the side of Team Hydra, but they're not going to have that for the actual fight here on offense, and Omega taken down right after res is used onto the Bastion, which is going to force Hydra to back up again, and ultimately, by the time they get their Sigma back into this fight, Hydra's now forced into this position where they're realistically only looking at one more team fight here on their point A take on Eichenwald. For all of you ranked players out there, I'm thinking can't wait for this new patch to come through, so that way we don't necessarily have to stare at double shield all the time, but that's not even guaranteed, and oh my gosh, Team Phobos is destroying Hydra on this first point defense on Eichenwald. It's honestly not even close. Hydra is not able to gain any footing whatsoever here on the low ground, or to contest that double shield setup, and ultimately, this, for anybody that doesn't know, this composition right here, when you're working around the Bastion, is highly cooldown dependent. You're not necessarily looking to combo a lot of ults. That's not necessarily your win condition. It's all about how you're using your cooldown, specifically your immortality fields, your Orisa shift, your kinetic grasp on the side of Sigma. But as, oh my gosh, I'm missing half of the fight here. Finally, it looks as if Team Hydra gets to be able to get some displacement onto Team Phobos, get them off the high ground, and now that they're able to take the fight onto the point, it looks like they're able to get some value. And first point Eichenwald finally taken by Team Hydra here with no time in the bank, leaving themselves with a mere 2.5 minutes on point B on Eichenwald. And as we all know, point B Eichenwald is one of the longer point B maps, with a couple of late kills here coming through on the side of Team Phobos onto Team Hydra. That's going to lower that time bank even more so. However, Hydra is coming into this fight with quite a few ultimates, as opposed to Phobos only having 3. Well, they're probably going to even that up with Amplification Matrix, so ult economy here looking relatively even. Bongo used preemptively on the side of Hydra. Nice placement on the Bongo as well, on the interior of that right side room, outside of line of sight from the side of Team Phobos. But unfortunately, kills coming in on both sides. Huge barrage coming through on the side of 1DK for Team Hydra, and as long as Hydra's able to regroup relatively quickly here, they are going to have the spawn advantage. Their Bastion is currently he has a pretty aggressive position here. Hopefully he doesn't get picked off by the Pharah on the side of Team Phobos, but alright, full regroup here on the side of Team Hydra, but unfortunately Phobos has already regrouped in its entirety onto the high ground, and they're not able to take advantage of any of those picks that they were able to accrue in the earlier fight. Now, as I say that, entering into the second point B team fight, Team Hydra, Hydra's looking much better, able to secure a couple kills onto the Sigma and onto the Pharah, and which is going to ultimately force Phobos to back up onto the bridge here on second point Eichenwald. A couple late picks as well, and with those late picks by 1DK on the side of Team Hydra, Phobos is only really going to be able to get a last-second contest here, and they're not going to be able to take advantage of the CC potential on the bridge here. Bongo is used preemptively on the side of Phobos, but unfortunately is taken down immediately, and so is the Bastion, and this is looking as if Team Hydra, after a very, very shady start on Eichenwald, a relatively quick point B take on the side of Hydra, looking relatively nice coming into the final point here on Eichenwald. We have Barrage and Amplification Matrix and Bastion Ult on the side of Hydra coming into our, probably one of our final fights, potentially another fight after this one. And they're also potentially going to build both their Orisa and Sigma ults in this fight as well. So huge ult advantage, ult economy advantage here on the side of Team Hydra. As long as they don't feed their faces off, they should be able to take point C here on Eichenwald relatively easily. And as I say that, that literally comes to fruition as a clean team sweep coming through on the side of Team Hydra. Phobos potentially going to be able to come in for a stall here on last point Eichenwald, but it's not looking very promising with 0 ults in the bank and both Gravitic Flux and Valkyrie coming through on the side of Hydra. I'm not sure that Phobos is going to have any staying power, and it does look like Hydra's going to have time in the bank, 20 plus seconds, as a matter of fact, on Eichenwald after one of the scariest potential full holds on Eichenwald. Hydra is able to through and combat that defensive Bastion composition, that Bastion Pharah composition of Phobos, which, as we all know, it can be a bitch to counter. But after some composition, I don't even say some stark compositional changes on the side of Hydra, just some better execution on their cooldowns and ultimates, leading to that initial team fight on point A, really leading into that snowball for the rest of the map. Oh my gosh. I need to get back to point A here so I can see what's going on.
Ready for battle.
All right. All right, so Phobos is going to be running the Pharah Reaper on offense here. Or potentially? No, I mean, they're probably going to revert back to the Pharah. I'm assuming the Widow pick here is strictly for a jump shot. Or they may potentially, stick with it to combat the Pharah. It looks as if the strat here may be to take the pharmacy out of the sky first and then rotate onto the Bastion. But we'll see if, excuse me.
3,
Seem to be having a bit of stuff here. I apologize for that.
Oh
my gosh, huge pick onto the Pharah, but he is in a resible position, so even though we have definite style points on the side of Joy getting that initial pick off on 1DK on the Pharah, ultimately it's not really going to find a ton of value when it comes to their first team fight. So rotation is coming left side by Phobos. Full shield placed down. Looks like they're going to take the low ground here. They're not going to fully rotate to the right hand side like Hydra did on their first attack. But as I say that, it looks like they are passing the first choke. They do get the pick off onto the Mercy though. So if they can disrupt quickly and get onto this Bastion, yeah, the Bastion's not even moving. Team Hydra opting not to relocate their Bastion even after the Mercy goes down, but still, Swayze able to pick off both of the DPS on the side of Phobos, and unfortunately, Phobos with a golden opportunity there by taking out the Mercy on the side of Phobos, aren't really able to capitalize on it fully. Kind of a stalemate here, shaping up on the side of the offense, and we have a pause coming through, potentially some DC issues. But that fight right there was super, super interesting. Phobos ultimately able to take point A relatively, I don't want to say effortlessly, because they lost both of their DPS after engaging onto the Bastion, but just with more staying power and that coalescence coming through on the side of Arcs, Phobos able to push through onto the point and clean up the remainder of Hydra. Very, very impressive take, and it's giving them an amazing time bank here to work with heading into point B on Eichenwald. Shape, do we have an update on what the pause was for? Do we have a DC on either side? Gotcha. Alrighty. Well, forgive us, viewers, while we are dealing with the delay. So I think what we can draw, the conclusion that we, from the first point attack on the side of Phobos, is that the attack Reaper and the Pharah definitely sees more value than attack Bastion that Team Hydra attempted. Only because of the amount of time it takes to rotate a Bastion onto another Bastion that
This
already
will
has
heal you.
high ground defensive advantage. But luckily, we're back into the game, and a late kill onto Omega from Joy. Was that an environmental concussion blast? I do believe it was. And that's going to put Phobos in great position here on point B on Eichenwald here. They're going to get this first corner essentially for free, and it's not really going to allow Team Hydra to set up on high ground the way that they want. Rissa going down as well. But luckily for Team Hydra, Mercy's able to get the res onto the Orisa, and ultimately high ground is taken, but it's not the ideal position that Team Hydra is looking for because they're all over the place right now. The Orisa ends up having to drop off of high ground, leaving their Bastion and their Sigma on the high ground by themselves. And this is such a messy defense on the side of Hydra, but still able to get a couple of kills, but ultimately that barrage coming through on the side of Joy and decimates Team Hydra, and I'm not even sure if Phobos, if Hydra is going to be able to come in for another contest here on the point B. It looks like they're possibly going to attempt it. Orisa's going to touch. They do get the touch on point B, but Coalescence is coming through on the side of Phobos, and with the amount of staying power that Phobos currently has, and only the partial touch on the side of Hydra, Phobos gets the easy cleanup there with the Coalescence and the Bongo combo. Oh my gosh, this time bank is not looking very sexy at all for Hydra. Hopefully they're going to be able to pull something for this defense. They do have a couple of ultimates coming online. Let's see if they can get anything. But they pull Flux off, but unfortunately it's when 1DK already goes down. Both TPS go down on the side of Team Hydra, but they are able to get picks off onto the Mercy of Phobos, and with picks going back and forth on both sides and the spawn advantage obviously being in the favor of Team Hydra, I'm thinking Team Hydra has the advantage here, but Phobos still taking an aggressive positioning here with their shield placement, and Sutures goes down on the side. Sutures and Swayze both go down on the side of Team Hydra, but they're able to take out the Reaper on the side of Phobos, but it's just not enough. Stalls coming through at the last minute. Team Hydra is able to touch the cart here. Oh my gosh, this is utter chaos going on last point here. Cybertech taken down by Joy, Civic taking Joy out, and Korean Stack both going down on the side of Phobos. And at the 11th hour, somehow Hydra's able to get a foothold on the third point defense onto Eichenwald. Lucio coming in late for a potential back cap, but Hydra sniffs it out, and somehow, I'm not sure how, but somehow Hydra able to pull together the tightest of defenses on point C here. Still Hydra still has a couple of ultimates here to work with. They do have Sound Barrier, but unfortunately Lucio is taken out early in the fight, and he's not going to be able to use it. Phobos takes this handily, and I'm not sure that Hydra's going to be able to come out and contest, and
Round 2.
we're looking at a 2.5-minute time bank disparity between Phobos and Hydra going into overtime rounds.
3-3. Switching
That's an
sides.
absolute disaster. The one thing that could not happen on that defense was the
Initiating
Lucio
match.
getting picked off on the side of Hydra, and the Lucio, with his barrier up, gets picked off first, and the fight just devolves from there. I don't want to say Lucio fed, but it's just, you hate to see it. Oh, it looks like we have another DC on the side of Hydra. Looks like 1DK might have some connectivity issues. Not sure if this is the same DC that we experienced earlier on in the match. Oh, it looks like he's back. Potentially. All right.
Ready for battle.
All right. Let's see what Hydra chooses to run on their offense here. It looks like they're going to do that Pop Widow pick, very similar to what Phobos did on their offense, see if they can't get any value onto the Pharah. The only problem with that is, even if you do get the pick off onto the Pharah, and the Pharah has any brain cells whatsoever, they're going to get picked off in a resible position, so I'm not sure what, if any, value that Widow pick is actually going to find if they choose to stick with it. But it looks like they choose to swap off of the Widow. Oh, and then they swap back onto it. So apparently trying to give me an aneurysm.
4, 3,
Hydra does
1.
stick with that Pop Widow pick. Look to see if they can get an early pick onto the Pharah. Really good positioning here on the side of Joy. Really been impressed with his Pharah play. And it looks like Hydra is going to stick to that attack Bastion. Very, very questionable decision here, in my opinion. Just with the amount of time that it takes to rotate this Bastion into place, they're only realistically going to have one fight here. And let's see how well they use their cooldowns on the side of the offense. With the defensive high ground positioning advantage being in favor of Phobos, it's really just a spam war here on both sides. Nice pull coming through on the side of
10 seconds.
Korean Snack, able to assist in the takeout of the Pharah. So Hydra potentially with an opening here on point A. However, they still have defensive positional advantage on the side of Phobos, and Verse comes through with a couple of late picks onto Team Hydra, and with picks going back and forth here, the spawn advantage actually in favor of the offense on this map. I'm thinking Team Hydra looks to have the potential to take at least point A here on this map. The res does come through onto the Bastion by Zero. So huge res, and with that res coming through onto the Bastion, I think that this attack is over and done with on Hydra after being able to accrue a mere 48.1% on first point.
3
Now
to
Phobos
3.
is going to
Switching
have,
sides.
what, 3.5 minutes on attack to eclipse that 48% mark. And given how
Initiating
quickly
match.
their initial attack went on point A, I am thinking that this looks favorable for Phobos. But that's why we play the maps. And Shape, this is currently 2-1 in favor of Hydra, correct?
Ready for battle.
In Phobos. It's 2-1 Phobos. Okay, so Phobos in a great position here to go up 3-1. We are looking at match point here for Phobos.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
See what we're looking to run on offense. Phobos looking to run the exact same composition that they ran on their initial attack. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Words to live by. Very interesting defensive combination coming, or composition coming through on the side of
5,
on the
4,
side of Hydra here
3,
with an Ash
2,
Reaper,
1. Attackers
Ana,
incoming.
Moira.
Defend objective A.
Obviously anticipating the Pharah play, and the Ash pick here gives them a little bit more pliability, or excuse me, a little bit more consistent pressure onto the Pharah as opposed to the Bastion, because of her mobility. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Let's see what they can do with it. Early pickoff onto the Pharah by Team Hydra. Good start, but the res comes through and IDK is taken out. So it's looking like Phobos is going to be able to get a relatively early 6v5 fight advantage. And the rotation not coming through early enough on the side of Team Hydra. They're looking relatively discoordinated here on this point A. And with them spread out as much as they are, it's looking like Aris is going to be taken down, Ana's going to be taken down, and oh my, but why can't these fights ever be clean? But with that Cybertex pick coming through on the side of Phobos, ultimately Phobos able to take Eichenwald and the map and the series. Congratulations to Team Phobos on the 3-1 victory. Very, very close, very tightly contested match. It was a pleasure to watch. It was a pleasure to cast. I do believe we have to vote for an MVP, correct? We don't have that ability. What? Well, somebody lied to me then, and I was misled. I feel betrayed, but it's okay. I don't blame you, Shape. And I was also told that you're incapable of lying. So you have that going for you. But definitely some stellar. If I had to choose uh, an MVP, I would 100% nominate the fair play on the side of Phobos, which would be Joy, if I'm not mistaken. And even though it's boosted because of the Pharaoh pockets. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Pharaoh went uncontested. And being able to get that consistent poke damage against that hard defensive Bastion composition is ultimately what is going to allow the offense to break that defense. And with the amount of not only his consistent chip damage, but his ult usage as well, the massive amount of value he was able to get out of his barrages, ultimately is what I believe ended up turning the point on a lot of those team fights. And very, very impressive play on both sides. Both of the pairs actually played very, very, very well today. It was good to see. It was good to see some a little bit of diversity on the side of the DPS picks. Was expecting to see a little bit more Doomfist play today. Didn't really see a whole ton of Doomfist. Didn't see a whole lot of Reaper. We got to see a lot of Bastion Pharah, which I can't necessarily say I'm surprised by either. But I definitely find that to be not only more effective, not only on offense and defense, obviously depending on the map, um, but definitely more entertaining to watch and cast as opposed to Doomfist, Reaper, Double Shield, and a little bit less chaotic as well. But Shape, what are we looking like as far as the cast here? Is there any criteria that I'm missing? I don't want to. Perfect. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us during the cast tonight. I'd like to thank Shape for producing, and obviously both of our teams, both Team Phobos and Team Hydra, for participating. What records? This was the first game for both teams, correct? Per- Perfect. Perfect. So anybody that was watching this match, please be sure to support the other stream. The other teams that are playing are perfect. Thank you for the save shape. Um, again, oh my gosh. Anytime I can be of any assistance, you just let me know. It's just unfortunate that a lot of the times that we have I have two teams entered into the league, which means that I have to dedicate practice and scrim times to both teams during the week. And it's obviously usually at the times that we have matches, so my availability is a little bit inconsistent. But if and when I am available, I am always down to cast any of the games, especially the GM ones, because the gameplay, or excuse me, the level of gameplay is at such a quality. I find a lot of pleasure in casting this level of gameplay. So anytime you guys need me, I will be here for you. It's all about the community. All right. So thank you again, everybody. And again, my name is Thor. Thank you for watching.